Britain has reignited its love affair with The Apprentice. The routine, the ritual of steady work. Perhaps the last resort as youth unemployment soars.
I feel that's why I love my job.
There's been some serious rebranding and remodelling, but the government's big push seems to be lacking some follow-through.
You can make the most out of it.
It's claimed less than 7% of 16 to 24-year-olds are currently in an apprenticeship, but more than half would like to do one. Demand appears to be outstripping supply. At what cost? Well, a new report by the think tank Demos says if Britain created 300,000 more apprenticeships to bring it in line with comparable economies, it would add $4 billion to its GDP. It's a bold claim. Jonathan Todd, chief economist at Demos, arrived at the figure by multiplying the estimated productivity of an apprentice.
We know that on average, apprentices are £200 more productive a week than other workers. And if we get the number of apprentices in this country up to the best performing economies in the world, then we'd be looking at £4 billion extra of GDP for the UK each year.
But where are we going to find the money for these new apprenticeships?
Fundamentally, it's got to come from business itself. Public spending on skills is declining by a quarter over this spending review period, but business has cash reserves that they have to invest, and they have to invest in their workforces.
Businesses like Unilever are certainly investing in promotion. Apprenticeships are back in fashion and they're lucrative. So when did you buy it?
I bought the house back in August 2011.
In Leeds, 22-year-old Emma Chilton is one of Unilever's success stories.
I was the first one to buy my own house.
But you've secured your future?
Yeah, definitely. It's something I'm very proud of, and I've managed to keep, and hopefully soon I should be able to get an even bigger one.
Emma started in logistics.
I was responsible for getting the raw and packaging materials.
More than a quarter of school leavers like her out-earn graduates. But some of Emma's friends were sceptical. University is still the preferred option for the vast majority. How do you feel now about those friends that perhaps thought doing an apprenticeship wasn't the right thing?
Yeah, I think a lot of my friends thought that taking a step back, but I think now they have realised that I definitely did take the right route, and I think they are quite, accepting that I did do the right thing.
But her father believes a lack of apprenticeships is the problem.
We've ended up with more people wanting jobs, and when people are going for apprenticeships, sometimes there'll be hundreds of people going for one or two jobs.
Do you think colleges and careers advisors are too university obsessed?
Yeah, I think it were quite university obsessed, because the careers advisors that they had there were always about getting the best A-level results and how many UCAS points you get into university and how you could get more UCAS points and which ones accepted lower rates for universities. And I kind of sat there and thought, well, I don't think I'm going to go to university, but you never get told what the other options are.
Do you think there's a prejudice against apprenticeships?
I think people are a little bit unsure of what apprenticeships are now available. I think they think that they're still stuck in the vocational era of mechanics and plasterers and hairdressers and beauticians, which are all perfectly viable apprenticeships, but they need to realise that they've broadened the spectrum on them now, and they do offer other things in professional careers such as IT and business admin and logistics.
Unilever is one of the UK's largest employers, and recently it's extended its apprenticeship programme to include school leavers. Of a workforce of more than 7,000, it offers 80 apprenticeships.
What would the world look like if the everyday became the exceptional?
But some big firms are falling short.
What if new doors opened just for us?
They talk a good game, but last November, apprenticeships at the Intercontinental Hotels Group, which includes Crowne Plaza and Holiday Inn, were branded inadequate by Ofsted. Despite running them at more than 23 of its hotels, not a single apprentice had qualified since its training began in 2012. The hotel group said it was disappointed by the report and was working on improvements. to be back studying when you were hoping to have a job? 17-year-old Brett Barnes managed to get an apprenticeship at a local leisure centre, but he was only on £2.95 an hour, less than £90 a week. Before, his family claimed child benefit because he was in education, but they say they lost that help because Brett was classified as being fully employed.
The income that's coming in is really only enough to keep your mother and me. So we can't help support you anymore. Do you see what I mean? By you being employed, we would lose in benefits something like £8,000 per year.
It's a big number, isn't it?
It's a big number. So what we have to take into account, of course, is how we're going to manage.
It makes me feel a bit ill, really, to think that the government would sort of do things like that.
Well, you can't tighten your belt any more than it will go, can you?
No, exactly.
Brett left after 3 months, but he says money wasn't the sole driver. What was your main issue with the apprenticeship?
My main issue was the fact that I'd been there about a month before I started receiving training. There was time gaps, and in them time gaps, when I wasn't being trained, instead of being given time to do my studies, like agreed, which is what I wanted to do, I was just being thrown onto poolside and cleaning. That was it.
These low-paid apprenticeship schemes, I think, are just low-paid work. They can gain experience from it, but I still believe they're being exploited.
Didn't get on in, so...
And pay could become the sticking point for a government trying to get more people into vocational programmes.
There's certainly evidence that apprentices are being exploited. They earn £2.68 an hour minimum. You'd have to ask, is that enough to live on, really? And then further to that, a lot of apprentices aren't even earning that minimum wage in itself.
The golden age of the apprenticeship is part of British history, but the future is looking a lot more challenging.